And now we are going to talk about all the things that we're going to be using for our development in this course. So that's actually going to be pretty straightforward because we are going to keep our examples very simple. The idea is that we are going to focus in on the essence of the different topics that we're covering, and for that we're not going to need to install any special software really beyond some of our programming tools. And so if we look at the first one, it's Python, especially Python 3 is what we'll be using. And Python 3 is available actually online in a REPL. And a REPL is essentially a command line and a program evaluator, like you see here. And there's a website called repl.it that we'll be using for that. And REPL is an acronym. It stands for Read, Eval, Print, Line. And we'll be seeing that throughout the course. We'll be seeing how we can put in commands into here or write simple functions here and then have them evaluated, showing us the output. And that is going to be enough for us to start with. And then once we move on to a slightly more complex example, what we're going to do is we're going to install Python 3 locally. And that is going to let us try out a little more stuff that's complicated, and we'll go from lecture to lecture. But we'll cover the instructions for how to install it. It's all pretty simple. It's going to be all through package managers. We're not going to have to do any local manipulation of the operating system or anything in order to get Python working. And then to go with Python, we're also going to use a Unix compatible terminal. So as you saw in the REPL itself, we only really have the middle kind of editor and then the command line on the side. And what we want is to have a full terminal available to us on our local OS. And we're going to use that to show how to combine the commands that we have on a Unix-like operating system, for example, on Mac OS 10 and above, and how to take that and use that for a simulation of certain tools that we would use in cybersecurity work. And then we'll use a code editor locally as well to edit our Python code and maybe some other scripting. And that is really up to you what kind of code editor you want to use. I, for example, use Sublime Text 3, and Sublime Text 3 is interestingly also written in Python, but that's not really going to make a big difference. I mean, the important thing is that you have something that lets you edit Python code. I mean, maybe something that lets you see the syntax highlighting and do any kind of other additional convenient steps that you need in order to run your code efficiently. I like to keep things very simple. It will just be the editor and the terminal. And of course, the last thing that we need, something that we really will not be able to do without, is a working internet connection. And you'll want to make sure that you're not restricted or limited from running any code from the internet, and that you can send commands and queries out to different addresses on the internet, different IP addresses and URLs, because we'll be trying some stuff, some techniques from the cybersecurity world. We'll be looking at how attackers might use a network connection and how to protect against certain things. And for that, we'll need to do some network related stuff. But you're not going to need to learn a lot about the security settings or network settings in your computer. A lot of the stuff will just be from the command line or from our code. All right, so that's all that we need. So see you in the lectures.